Hi, so I want to talk to you about struts, spring shocks, and strut mounts and how they move. So you got a set of struts and you're ready to install them, and you're having trouble putting the new ones up because the strut mount or strut cap doesn't seem to line up with the bolt pattern, or the studs won't go through the bolt pattern on the car. You can move the strut cap, and this is how we do it. I have here just a few examples of spring-loaded struts and an actual spring-loaded shock. And I want to show you the difference on the tops, how they move. So this type does not have studs that come out like this one. These are bolts. So if you get a new strut and you need to turn the top strut to angle of the way the old one came out, you would simply take your new bolts or your old bolts, place them in, all three of them, bring them down just flush with the nut, and you could get a long pry bar or a screwdriver, place it in there, and turn it just like that. You can't turn it by hand. That's really, well, I'm strong, but it's hard to turn it by hand. Use a pry bar or a long screwdriver, and you could turn it at the angle. Take note of where, if you see any simple markings, like this has an indent, and it also has a rubber extension piece. When you take the old one out, line it up on the ground, then put it up. If you don't have access to a long screwdriver or pry bar, you could always place it up in the car, the new one. You might only be able to line up 2 bolts. Line up what you can, and then you can take a shorter screwdriver or pry bar and fit it through here, and then turn the base so it lines up with the knuckle. Another quick reference to, if you don't know the difference if you have a strut or if you have a spring-loaded shock, is the base, the way it's mounted. If you have a spring-loaded shock, it more than likely will have just a bolt hole that one goes through, or these ears that can be bolted in one way, and it just places it up through the control arm. If you take this out, you'll notice the control arm doesn't drop, the vehicle really doesn't drop down. But if you have a strut, you'll always have a piece that goes into what we call the knuckle, that is where the rotor and the hub are mounted to, and you'll have 2 major big bolts, and that is a strut assembly. When you take that out, that lower control arm will drop right down. So I hope this helped you out. Don't forget, always be safe and have fun in what you do.